Welcome to NocBro Nation.
Welcome back, guys. Jarrell here.
And I'm Josh. And ladies and gentlemen, today we're here to discuss Robert Kirkman at Comic-Con talking about teasing changes ahead of Season 11 for The Walking Dead.
Yeah, guys, so we'll put the spoiler warning out there. Spoiler warning for The Walking Dead TV show, Season 10, Season 11, and The Walking Dead comics. We're not going to get too deep into what those changes are. We will give some high-level information. We're not going to go too deep in there. But yeah, a lot of stuff's going to be changing. The primary reason for this is because of Rick Grimes. The main focal point, well, I wouldn't say the main focal point, but a big part of the ending of the comics in regards to the Commonwealth is all around Rick Grimes. And everyone else, but Rick has a very big story.
Did you say spoiler alert already?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So y'all have been warned.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into details about this. Do you want to say it or do you want me
Not too big a detail.
Oh, you don't want me to say it?
Well, yeah, we can. That's fine.
Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can say it.
Yeah.
Okay. Rick Grimes dies.
Yes. He does. In the comics, he does.
And look, guys.
It's been over a year, but we want to get spoilers out anyway.
But not only that, Robert Kirkman clearly said, I think months, years, I think, even before he killed off Rick Grimes, that look, Rick Grimes does not make it through the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he said that.
Yeah.
And I think that was his way of letting fans know, look, this is coming.
But we just didn't believe him.
We didn't think it was going to happen that soon.
Yeah, exactly.
And that wasn't really soon, but anyway.
Right. So, I mean, like, do we think that there's going to be a character, a major character, who would get his death? Like, the only person that would be good old Daryl. Probably not. But there are going to be changes. We'll read through this really quick for what Kirkman said at a Q&A session at Comic-Con. He says, what can we expect in Season 11 The Walking Dead? More Maggie. Lauren Cohan is back. There's a lot of cool stuff planned for characters named Daryl and Carol. There is no Rick Grimes in the show anymore, so
Carol survives.
Yeah, so there's going to be some stories that are changed, which I'm very excited about. But we will still be moving into some areas that are from the comics in some new and interesting and different ways. So, the Commonwealth was the final chapter of the comics. It was a massive community, 50,000 strong, and it was a community that was led by a governor where you think things are good on the surface, but in the background, they weren't really great.
Now, for those of you that have not watched any of our previous videos, I know what you're thinking. Hey, we already have that group. It's called CRM. It's coming. That's the story. No. They've already told us that CRM will not be related in any way to the Commonwealth counterpart of the source material.
Or any other show.
There you go.
Fear, World Beyond, well, it's part of World Beyond, but not to Fear, not to anything else.
Yeah, so I wanted to throw that out there before you go any further. Sorry.
Yeah. So, no, that's good. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how they do the Commonwealth. There were some big storylines that came out of that. There was a pretty decent storyline from Michonne that came out of that. In the comics, Michonne found out that her daughter was alive, that she thought was dead. There's rumors out there, you know, when the person in the mask in the trailer in The Walking Dead Season 10, remember that stone face, that iron mask? Mm-hmm. People are like, ooh, could this be Michonne's son? We assume that he's dead, but I don't think it's Michonne's son.
Oh, man, that's a good one, though.
It's a good one, though.
That is a really good one.
It's a damn good one, but I don't think it's that. But it's a big piece because Michonne in the comics took a really big turn with her character, and it was a turn for the good, I would say. But there was a lot of big things in the Commonwealth story.
But it doesn't fit, too, because Michonne's gone. So, you know, I could definitely see that happening, or that storyline even happening, her son being in this new community, assuming that we get that community. Yeah. But, I mean, she's gone now, so that doesn't, you know, hold any water there.
Right, but they could, if there's another character they can kind of do something along those lines, they could, but I don't think there's any other character that has anything like that. That's a child that they assumed was dead. That may not be. It may not be. I won't go into specifics of this, but there is a pretty big storyline for Dwight in the Commonwealth, but I'm not going to spoil anything. You're going to have to go look it up for yourself, read it. But there's a big story for Dwight, but of course, he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you know, they very well may remix that.
Yeah.
But this is all assuming that we're going to get that storyline, that Commonwealth storyline of 50,000 strong. Now, I think we're going to. I think we're going to get a community, a larger community, simply because we've already gotten the communication from Stephanie. So we know they're more sophisticated, or well off because they have radio communication.
Right. So I mean, I think some of the aspects of the comics will come through. I think that we're hoping that there's going to be a cool new character named Mercer, who is kind of the leader of the Commonwealth Army, which is going to be cool. He's a cool guy. There's certain aspects of Maggie's story, which I don't know if they really want to do. They could, but I don't know if it'll really work. Because of all these changes.
Well, I don't remember. Are you talking about the final issue?
Yeah, the final issue.
That's a pretty big leap.
It is.
That'd be a pretty big time. They'd have to do the time skip.
Yeah, they'd have. I mean, that's what we're saying. There's a major time skip, which a lot of our characters changed
over 20 years.
Changed to certain things
over 20 years.
Before the time skip, there wasn't much. There was just a lot of infighting, and the communities were trying to work with each other, and it came into an eternal battle. But
to me, you only do that time skip if you're ending the series.
If you're ending the series,
I think that kind of fits perfectly more in the show than it does in the comic.
I don't know what the hell they're going to do then.
Yeah.
I honestly, guys, if you got, a lot of you are comic book readers, you know what we're talking about. Some of you who don't, but
you didn't really get into it. I interrupted you, but the main story in the Commonwealth is that the citizens of the Commonwealth are a lower class than those that are above them, and that lower class is not treated the same way. They're not treated harshly from what we saw in the comic book. They're just not given equal rights.
There are levels in the Commonwealth. Yeah. Yes, what you used to do in the pre-apocalypse life, that's what you're doing for the Commonwealth. So if you were a janitor or a dishwasher, that's what you're going to do for them. And your housing situation is going to be
it's going to reflect
that. Yeah. If you were a lawyer or somebody like a top level executive,
Michonne,
you're going to be doing things to that level extent. You're going to live in a nice high level rise apartment or something, whatever they have.
And the key there is that you're given that position, and you're not given the opportunity to change.
Nope.
So you could make an argument that, like, a waiter now who's going to be a waiter, but did they choose that career pre-apocalypse? No, they didn't. That was something that maybe they were doing to get by. So it was an unfair community from the source material, but who's to say they're going to even do that storyline, in the series? And
it went pretty fast in the comics because we didn't get to understand how, the governor name was Pamela Milton. She kind of explained it into that sense, like if you were a waiter, that's what you're going to do for us. She didn't really get into how she asked the people these questions, like, okay, you could have worked as a waiter for a night job and then did something else for the day job. Like, what if you did two or three different things? How do you choose how does Pamela Milton, the governor, choose what you were going to do? They just didn't get into it in the comics.
And if I had to be honest, it wasn't the best storyline. So, and I think that maybe that's why they're remixing it.
We'll be real. And you comic book readers know what we're talking about. The Commonwealth story arc was not great.
No.
It was not.
No.
It went so fast. It was very fast-paced because that's when the comic ended. But it was very fast-paced, and you didn't get a lot of information. You're just thrown some stuff, and you were like, okay, I accept it, and you kept moving on.
Like, to me, I didn't have enough evidence that the Commonwealth was doing anything wrong.
Not too much, because
yes, it is wrong that you're profiling people into positions, right? That's wrong.
Yeah, and we did see one instance where a couple that kind of spoke up against the governor, they were getting their ass beat. They were getting beaten by the soldiers.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's when our group stepped in and was like, no, this is not cool.
I just wanted more, right? Like, to me, I thought it could have been done a little bit better. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I'm not a writer, but it was lackluster for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, for Kirkman to say there's going to be even more divergence from the comic book storyline, well, guys, I mean, after the Whisperer War, there wasn't much story. I mean, there's little things here and there, but nothing that would make a whole season.
It's too bad they don't have Rick Grimes, right? Because that was one of the highlights of the Commonwealth, was Rick Grimes went to the Commonwealth and he met with Governor Milton.
And then he took her around to the other communities. She saw Alexandria. She saw the Sanctuary. She saw Hilltop. I mean, she he took her around to show this is how we live.
Yeah.
Nobody lives in levels. Everybody does their jobs, and that's what they do.
Now, what happened is people started seeing Rick Grimes as this better leader, this more charismatic and person that was willing to lead the people and not tell the people what to do.
Yeah.
And they started wanting him to run the Commonwealth.
Yeah. There was an incident in the comics where the scuffle happened or whatever, and some store fronts got destroyed and things got destroyed, and Rick was out there helping clean up. And that's what the people were amazed by.
When Governor Milton was in her office.
Yep, staying away. Yeah. He's helping cleaning up and talking to the people and being one with the people. And that's what some of these people, gravitated towards. They were like, okay, this guy cares. And he's just new. Like, he cares more than she does. And she's been here for years.
Isn't leadership nice?
Leadership's really nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what season 11 can bring. The big thing that we're going to get is what's going to go on with Eugene and Stephanie. That's going to be the main meeting.
That's going to springboard us into this.
Introduce us.
Whatever we get.
Yeah, it'll introduce us to the Commonwealth. But guys, a lot of the cool stories are at the end, the final issue of the comics, which jumps 25 years. We're not going to get that.
That's the cool stuff, to be honest.
That's the cool stuff.
That's probably the most exciting stuff that I've read in the series.
So they could take some of those aspects in the show.
Bring them in early?
Bring them in early. Mm-hmm. Like maybe Eugene and Stephanie starting the railroad. And they're going to be starting the Western Alliance talks. They could start that.
Guess who the other alliance would be?
Who?
CRM.
That's if they make. They won't mix it. They won't put it together. We don't know. Or it could be the group that Michonne's with. We don't know who that group is. It could be the Western. They were dressed in kind of Western style clothes.
Yeah. so was Ginny in Fear the Walking Dead, and she's in the Midwest.
But they said nothing with that. So we don't know where it would go, but they could take some aspects of the time skip in the comics and bring them to the show to make it work.
I think if you're a source material reader, like if you read the comic books, I think that you should be happy about this news because to us, it's taking kind of one of the more lackluster storylines and making that hopefully better, right? Yeah. Changing it up a little bit.
Yeah. So one of the other aspects is I'm excited for that Kirkman mentioned is that more stories with Daryl and Carol. So I think that they're going to be getting more. So maybe Daryl will take on some of Rick's story for the Commonwealth, certain aspects of it. Mm-hmm. Carol, not really sure what she'll take over. Maybe she'll take some of Michonne's stuff. Maybe part of it. It won't be specific details because they're specific to her having a child. But maybe they'll take certain pieces of her story and mix it up. Maybe some of Dwight's story could be maybe rolled into Daryl as well, or maybe given to a different character. There's just so many possibilities because there's people like, Ezekiel. Ezekiel was long dead from the comics. He didn't make it to the Commonwealth story arc. So we kind of know where his story might go with him trying to maybe find a cure for his cancer, or not really a cure, but maybe allow him to ease his pain and suffering. But
that's the question mark there, is we don't know about Ezekiel, and does this community have the means to help him? But when I say that the Commonwealth was lackluster, I don't want you guys to think that the source material, that part of it was just boring. It wasn't. It was good, and anything Robert Kirkman writes in The Walking Dead was amazing.
Yeah.
It just, I felt at that point that it was rushed.
It was rushed. He knew it was coming to the end before the public knew it was the end. So he kind of, I would say he rushed through it. The way you read it, rushed through it.
We don't know that. It's just like I kind of wanted more. I expected
more.
That's what it is there.
I wanted more.
I expected more from that storyline. Yeah. Like you see the covers for that issue and you're like, whoa. We're meeting this is a huge moment in this series, and maybe that's what it was. I expected too much.
Yeah, maybe. But you're right. We wanted a little bit more from it, but we are excited for what they're going to be throwing at us for season 11. I think, the door's wide open. They have plenty of story. Robert Kirkman's on there with them, so he's got a lot of stuff that he could use. It's just going to be interesting for us comic book readers of when we see certain things to know, like, did they take stuff from the time jump and bring it back?
Yeah.
And then, of course, by the end of season 11, we're going to be like, what's left? But honestly, hey, they said they can continue past the comics. So.
I've said this before. That's what I look forward to the most is new stories.
Yeah.
Not something that I know is going to happen. And yes, they remix it, but in the end, most of the stuff turns out to be like the source material. And I'm ready for something new.
We are. We're definitely ready. So let us know what you think. We hope the video wasn't too long. We just wanted to give our opinions on this, you guys. And anybody who's not comic book readers, feel free to ask questions in the comments. We know that others will definitely answer, and we can definitely answer those questions as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Help us get to our next milestone of 10,000 subscribers. We truly appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. Smash that like button if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more. I'm Jarrell.
I'm Josh.
We're NocBro Nation. We're out.